Good morning. And if you're watching this recording in the nighttime, good night. Welcome to Off the Record with KyleSellsBiz. I get excited every time I have one of these podcasts because we have some amazing guests that are experts in their respective fields. So if you're new to the program, we talk a lot about business growth, business acquisitions, business exits, and I bring on experts that really know their stuff, entrepreneurs, M&A professionals. In this case, we have an expert in the IT space that runs a very successful IT company. We're going to talk a little bit about Sejal and her business and the space that she operates in. But every Wednesday, we have phenomenal guests, and Sejal is no different. My name is Kyle Griffith. I currently manage the NYBB Group. We are a mergers and acquisitions firm. I'm also the CEO and founder of M&A Network. We provide a lot of educational resources to business owners and professionals who are looking to grow through acquisitions, grow organically, or exit their business. If you're tuning into this program and you don't want to get information on how you can grow your business, especially in this case using IT, technology is a very overlooked aspect of deal making. And when it comes to due diligence, you want to make sure that you're reviewing the tech stack and all the issues and mistakes that most, not most, but many, I would say, acquirers look at when they're reviewing a business. So they want to talk about it. I was privileged. So Sejal, I feel really honored and privileged. You know why? Because it took me a year to book you. We had a fabulous roundtable under the M&A Network in New Jersey. It took me a year to book you, and now I got you twice in March. Like, what are the freaking odds for that, man, to get you twice here? So I appreciate you being here. Thank you for your time. Sejal Lakhani-Bhatt is a well sought after speaker. She travels all over the globe, and I'm not even exaggerating. She travels a lot and she speaks in a lot of platforms, and I think I should give her the introduction that she deserves. Sejal, she is the CEO of TechWerxe and CloudWerxe, and she's a passionate serial entrepreneur dedicated to empowering small and mid-sized businesses. Her company provides small and medium-sized businesses with cybersecurity compliance, IT architecture design, infrastructure, and maintenance in New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania. But I know you have clients all over, but you're based in the New Jersey area. They believe that every business should receive enterprise-level IT services without enterprise-level costs. I love that. They invest in learning about your business to determine the most effective solutions to enable you to be more productive, cut costs, and reduce risk. As the ID partner, they allow you to focus on expanding your business while leaving your IT needs with them. So I want to welcome you, Sejal, and this is very candid, okay? So we're going to have a fun time, fun discussion.
Do it.
And I do like to hear stories. People love to hear stories. So your background is a very interesting one. Most CEOs that run IT companies come from a tech background, but you have more of a corporate / entrepreneurship track. So you mind sharing a little bit about your background and how you got to where you're at today?
Yeah. So, people always say you never end up where you think you're going to end up. Well, I worked through the banks. I was at multiple, the big 5 banks, et cetera, was on the trading floor, worked throughout different countries, et cetera. And I was always that person, right? That would be on the phone, just on the, I need help. I need tech help now. It needs to be done yesterday. And now I run an IT company, and I'm on the other end of that, of that call. But my background was all business, relationships, networking, how to grow a business, sales, marketing, et cetera. My husband was the tech guru. He's, the one behind sort of the building of the company. And so we just made a great team. And we, he started TechWerxe and I joined shortly after. And Kyle, you're right. I have no IT background in that sense, but I know enough to be dangerous.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, it's interesting that everyone has different paths that they choose, and sometimes the path actually chose you in this instance. And if I may add, we are currently the first time we actually streaming our off the record on Instagram. So for those of you on Instagram, welcome to the show.
I'm gonna be Insta famous.
Yeah, Insta famous, right? So we got our Facebook crew, we got our LinkedIn crew, we have YouTube, and we are on X as well. So yeah, we're streaming on multiple platforms. The main platform will be LinkedIn, though. There should be a link where you can navigate over to LinkedIn. Ask your questions, put your comments in. Have a great network of smart people that follow our program here. So make sure to put your questions and comments into the comment section, and we do our best to get to it. So give us a quick overview of TechWerxe and CloudWerxe, and help us understand what you do, and then we could probably get into some of the mistakes that a lot of companies do when they in the tech space.
Sure. So this company we started it in 2008, and when we started the company, it was because it was really difficult to find good IT solutions and IT companies that provided the same level of care, security, et cetera, for small and medium businesses that enterprises got. Listen, some of these enterprise companies can lose, $1 million here and there. They could use, is it going to hurt a little bit? Small and medium businesses can't afford to lose 100,000, 10,000 even, right? So we wanted to create a company that really provided the right infrastructure, the right solutions, and the right expertise to bring that company up and to scale it and grow it, right? All of us, we want to scale our companies. We want to grow our companies. We want to get to that next level. And IT is a major part of that. So that's the background on why TechWerxe was started. And ever since, we've become a leading organization, a leading IT company nationwide. We have clients all over. We are extremely focused and niched on cybersecurity. We work with a lot of clients that are in various verticals that have compliances, so manufacturing, healthcare, legal industries, et cetera. And what we do really well is help our clients grow and scale, and we take care of everything so that you don't need to. So that's kind of the background of why TechWerxe was started and what we do right now. CloudWerxe is the sister company. We have our own private cloud. Again, 8-10 years ago, Azure, AWS was expensive. You couldn't get onto those. We couldn't afford those.
Right.
And so we started a cloud company. And that was literally the impetus of that. We wanted to be able to work with small and medium businesses and give them fixed pricing on a month by month, so you can budget, you can have expert solution stacks, expert people doing it, all at a level that makes sense for small and medium businesses. And there are different ways that we obviously, in how we proceeded to do that.
Mm-hmm. And you got all thrown into this. I mean, how? And what I like about how you run your company is that we have a lot of business owners, and we're going to talk a lot of different things here. We're going to get into the M&A due diligence aspect of it, but I can't tell you how many times business owners come to me and they're doing like everything. They're micromanaging every aspect of their business. Like if we were to unplug them from their company, it's just going to implode, right? Because they have so many hats on. They're doing the bookkeeping, they're doing the sales, they're doing the collections, they're actually doing actual tech as far as that stuff. So I do like that. You come from a different background, but at the same time, you have expert, technicians that can service your clients. So you're not necessarily day to day, but you do have your hands on in the pulse of your company. Yeah,
I do. And my guys are incredible. I mean, my right-hand man, David, is absolutely incredible. The company would not run without him.
Mm-hmm. And that's important too, having that right-hand person, that CEO, or what would be his title per se? What would you?
I mean, he manages all of IT. He's the director of IT.
Director of IT, yeah. And we actually going to get into that too, because I know you have a lot of clients that have been either acquired or have went through some sort of a process, and at some point you want to engage with that target company, their IT director. It might be at the first stage of your conversations, but matter of fact, let's kind of jump into that, Sejal, if you don't mind, and kind of talk about some of the cybersecurity risks that most companies that are looking to acquire business should be aware of.
Okay, I'm going to take a step back because here's the deal, right? IT is something that most people know very little to nothing about.
Mm-hmm.
When we talk about you don't know what you don't know, that truly resonates within IT, right? And here's the problem. People are scared to figure out what they don't know because they don't even know how to go about doing it, right? There's no guidelines, there's no directional book like these are the things to do and this is what to ask. That's what I've put together.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no clear direction on how to find out the things you don't know. And frankly, for most people, even if they learn about the things they don't know, they don't even know what that means, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your question around, some of the biggest risks and what happens is, you said, we should get involved with the IT director somewhere down the line. Not somewhere down the line. IT is your second biggest investment after people.
Mm-hmm.
You should be involved with the IT director in your first meetings. Who's managing your stuff? How does it work? Forget the nitty gritty for a minute, but get the overlay of how this company runs, right? Do they invest in their infrastructure? Have they invested in their technology? Have they invested in updates and upkeeps? We need to know all of that. As you're buying, what do we buy businesses for? We buy businesses for their book of work. We buy businesses for their people. Well, neither of those works if you don't have the right technology under it.
So true.
Right? So that's why people buy businesses, right? So you need the infrastructure, you need what's under it, right? So
Mm-hmm.
not only do you have to have it, but you need to know that what you're combining into you, what you're buying has it. And if it doesn't, you need to know that now for several reasons. What is it going to cost you to get it up to speed? Two,
Mm-hmm.
what is it going to cost you to migrate it or merge it with all of your stuff? And three,
Mm-hmm.
how much of it do you need to do before you take it on? What do they need to clean up? Those are all big costs.
Mm-hmm.
Those are all big costs.
Yeah, I know it's funny. You made some good points. Like, so you're evaluating a target. And I like people is expensive. People are hard to find, hard to retain, and obviously the tech stack and the technology infrastructure as well. But think about if you're buying a company, what about your team? What about your technology? So if you're not running efficiently, you have a good, in your case, a good director of IT or director of operations or CFO or you think of the C-suite, everyone that runs your company as far as management goes, and down the road to employees at a lower level, and you don't have a great technology process. Now you're acquiring another business, right? And you're bringing it into the fold. I mean, that can create some issues there as well.
That's going to create a lot of issues. It's going to create issues. Two, your people are not going to be happy. You already have some people that are anxious. You've already got new people coming in, people already on edge. Now nothing's working. Nothing's migrating. Things are taking twice as long, 3 times as long, 10 times as long to do, right? You have to look at it on both sides. And companies, unfortunately, and it kills me to say this, companies still sometimes view IT as a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
What I'd ask, and I've asked you this before, right? Can your business, if I come into your business and wipe away your documents and take your laptops, so you have no way, can you still work? If I take away access to all of your documents and all of your stuff, can you still work? Can you go into the file cabinet, pull out your big book, your Rolodex, and start working through it? The answer is probably no. So how do we keep that safe? How do we make sure that when we're building, your foundation is solid so you don't collapse?
Yeah, it's a good point. So, I mean, the takeaway from this is before you even think about acquiring a company, you need to evaluate your own, do an IT assessment of your company first, right? See where you're at, and maybe some deficiencies that you need to address, and maybe a synergistic acquisition could probably potentially solve those. If it's some technology that you need, maybe too expensive for you to build out, you could probably acquire a company that has that technology already. So let's talk about some of the red flags that deal makers should watch out for, right, when you're assessing a target company. And I do have your PowerPoint that you had presented at our M&A roundtable a few weeks back. So if you need me to pull it up any time to reference it, do let me know. I can bring it to the screen.
Sure.
Yeah. Any red flags that us deal makers should be aware of, or buyers, private equity groups should be aware of when they're looking to evaluate an IT company?
Yeah.
Or any company,
the first,
matter.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, for any company, what are some things that look out for as far as red flags are concerned?
So what we've done with our clients, and when we're asked about it, when I speak about this, the first thing you want to really do is ask them about their IT expenses. You want to see what they've invested, what they currently have, right? if they don't know, if they're like, yeah, we've got an IT outsource company and we don't really, this is what they charge us, but then their expenses are far bigger. We need to understand that as we're going through the billing, right? How IT companies charge is very different. There's some that are fixed fee, but they're kind of fixed fee. And then there's like the time and labor on top of it. There's some that are truly fixed fee, et cetera. So you need the total cost. You want to know what it's actually costing you. They can't just give you, oh, here's our IT vendors, we get charged monthly for this, and then there's some extras. There's licensing, there's tools. You want to know what the contracts are, right? And it's a red flag if they can't provide you with that. It's a red flag if they don't have the understanding, if they're not having quarterly meetings or monthly meetings. When we are working with clients that are selling or buying, we're having monthly meetings. There's a lot going on, right? Do they know exactly what their issues have been? Have they been updated? Can they tell you if their backups and everything are working, right? Again, the issue is that people don't know what they don't know. So if they're like, yeah, our IT people do it. Have you seen it? Have you run it? What do you actually know about what's going on, right? Another one is infrastructure. Is it old? Are the patches and stuff updated? These are very targeted questions. And some would say, well, Sejal, we don't really know what questions to ask. Like, how do we even come up with these? And I have that all written out, but you want to know, are your patches updated? Do you guys do routine updates? Are you guys taking care of everything, right? Just like when, we all go to the doctor X times a year, we get our checkups, we do this. You got to do the same with technology, right? You want to also know what kind of vendors they're using, what kind of contracts are they working on, right? How are they all integrating with IT? Do you have any homegrown software? Are we going to be able to bring in that homegrown software? Do you want to manage that homegrown software, right? Who there is managing all of that? So there are a couple different ways of getting to these, but you want to see what their long-term plan is. And of course, their long-term plan is to sell to you. But in terms of that, what is their plan? What is their strategic plan? How are they making that happen from a technology standpoint? And their infrastructure, their appliances, can it handle the new business? So you need to know, do you have the infrastructure that's going to handle all the new business? Or are you taking them in and hoping that some of their stuff will also be handled on their own infrastructure? How are you merging it? Is it going to merge together nicely? Right? You need to know if everything's going to play nice together. So I know you asked about red flags, but any of these things, them not having it is a red flag, right?
Yeah.
That's when you need to start talking. Hey, what do we need to do? Do they have dedicated IT support? Not my daughter's boyfriend. My son just graduated. That's not going to work. Do they have true experts that are helping? And here's a big one. Have they been training their people? If you are going to buy a company and you're taking their people on, you need good people. And so we all look at skill sets, right? We're like, oh, we need a salesperson. Which one's better? We need this, we need that. So you're looking at their skill sets. Are you looking at whether they were cyber trained? It's that simple. And as you're going through all of them and you want to buy them for their, their HR person, for their CFO, for their, their skill sets, their technical people, whatever it is, have they been trained? So those are some of them.
Yeah, this is a lot. I was trying to write some of them down here, but you went over a lot there. So that's very, 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 very helpful.
And there's one main one that I didn't hit. Don't be afraid to ask the questions about the big elephants in the room. Have you had a cyber breach?
Yeah.
Do you have cyber insurance? Have you had a cyber breach?
We were getting into the cyber insurance. That's a big head over question. And
and I don't do it. I'm just saying, but those are, as an IT person, we are, we want to know. We want to know, have you had an incident and do you have insurance? We don't want anything that's coming in after, right? You have an insurance. Let's say we're acquiring you, we're bringing you in. All of a sudden, we realize you've had an incident a year ago. Now it's my problem. I don't want you as my problem.
Right. And since you mentioned cyber insurance, let's dive into that, right? So just because you have the insurance doesn't mean that you are in compliant or you're, everything is checked off. Because if you mentioned about patches, right? So if you have not patched an update or whatever the case may be, just because you have cyber insurance, but you're not taking necessary steps to make sure you're compliant, that's not a good thing either.
I hate saying this, and it scares me how many people have done this and how many prospects have done this.
Yeah.
I'm like, when we go in, when we're talking to a prospect, we ask for their, their insurance policy, their this, and
Mm-hmm.
like, oh yeah, our IT guy said that we can get a lower rate if we just say yes to all this. I'm like, absolutely,
Right.
but do you have it? No, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. Okay, but do you have a plan to implement it?
Right.
Well, no, because it's expensive. Okay, that doesn't work, right? So these are things for cyber insurance. One, you want to make sure that you have your best foot forward. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. Sejal, this is what I get all the time. Sejal, it's so expensive. We can spend millions of dollars a month and not be secure. And you're right, you can. You absolutely can. Or you can spend a fraction of that and be at best practices as to where you need to be to keep yourself as secure as possible. We could spend millions a month, but we could also spend a couple thousand and have you fully secure. People don't realize how many things don't cost a lot of money. It's
Mm-hmm.
because you're not sure. It's because you don't know. It's because you're scared to ask. And these are questions you need to ask.
Yeah. And this is the importance of having someone like yourself, or having, a IT company that has your support around the clock, because you're not going to know all these questions to ask and
No.
the checklist and so on. So if you're trying to get cybersecurity insurance, you need to first consult with your with your tech company just to see where the liability could be as far as the exposure goes.
Yeah. And can I just mention one thing on that?
Yeah.
There are tech companies that are like, oh, yeah, we'll just say this, we'll do it. You're
Yeah.
the business owner. Ignorance doesn't prevent you from being on the hook when something goes haywire, right? Just because your IT company's like, oh, no, you don't have it, but it costs a lot of money. Yeah, we'll fudge it. We'll lie about this. We'll lie about that.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
there's
it's
no
it's
skin
like
off their back.
going getting your, this, what do you call it, the inspections for your car. It was a
Yeah.
long time ago. I don't know if they still do it now, but you can go to the mechanic. So they check your car. By the way, you need brakes, but we may be able to pass you. But make sure you get your brakes checked the next time.
Right. And there is
You
no
know,
next time. But
yeah.
guys, we do this for everything else, right?
Mhm.
We make sure we've got policies on our life, on our car, on our house, on our valuables.
Yes.
Again, how important is your data to you?
Hmm.
If you can work without your data and make your living without your data, go for it.
Yeah. Let's talk about some metrics that you use when you're evaluating a deal. Do you have certain key things you look at as far as looking at the cyber risk profile in a potential candidate? Like any metrics you would track per se?
That's so funny. You're the second person this week to ask me that. And the truth of the matter is, it's different for every single company. If we have a
Hmm.
company that has compliances, we have healthcare companies that are under our supervision.
Hmm.
For them, one single breach is almost impossible for them to get
Yeah.
over. And then we have like marketing companies that, I'm not saying a breach is okay for a marketing company, but it doesn't affect them in that way. So we
Hmm.
don't necessarily have metrics because it really is not only vertical dependent, but it's also compliant dependent. It also depends on what kind of insurance you have, and it depends on who's buying you and what they're buying you for,
Hmm.
right? What the acquisition is for.
Hmm.
So we don't necessarily have metrics that we keep track of,
Yeah.
but some of those questions around breaches, around training, around
Hmm.
employees, around incidents, and all of that. Obviously, they're ticketing how much they're spending on IT, how much is budgeted, and how much was a surprise spend.
Hmm.
Those are all questions you want to get a little more details on.
Got it. Got it. Let's talk about post merger. Once a company has been integrated, what steps can be taken to ensure that integration of the IT systems have been done well post acquisition? So
You have to take those.
you have acquired a company. What are some things you should start looking at once you have made the acquisition post,
Yeah.
once the deal is closed?
So I'm going to tell you, you're going to start looking at them before you make the acquisition. You don't look at
Hmm.
their people and their books of work after the acquisition. You look at it before.
Hmm.
You look at the IT stuff before. That's number one. What you're going to do is you're going to look at which softwares, which applications, what they currently use. You're going to figure out, are they homegrown or are they currently supported? You're going to see if they're compatible with yours. And as you're starting to do that, you're going to put down a plan with your IT person and a very strategic, what you're going to move over, how you're going to move it over, and where it's going to land and where it's going to sit. You're going to want owners of everything, As you're doing it, you want to go through access control. The biggest issue we see after mergers is that they forget to do all the access control, et cetera. Everybody's got access. People that you let go from the old company, people that you let go from the new company, and there's no control anymore. So you want to make sure you do that. You also want to do it in bite-sized pieces. And is that going to take a little bit longer? I'm going to say no, because if you actually plan it out before you close the deal, then you'll have that strategic plan, just like you're planning on how you're going to integrate their people, integrate their systems, et cetera, et cetera. You're going to have that planned out. Some of the things you want to make sure is right after is that as you're going through, once you merge their data in, that it's sitting correctly, you actually want to take some time and actually go through it. You want to make sure that everything is being backed up. So you've got a full backup of them before and then of them after. So you want to make sure that you take that full run before you do a thing. So let's say you've broken this up into 4 different weeks that you're going to do a merger. You're going to want to make sure you're going to back up each of those 4 weeks. You do the backup, you merge some of it, you do a backup again right before you do it again. So each time you have something to go back to. That's a huge issue we've seen, is that people forget that something goes wrong. Now they have nothing to go back to.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, the backups is extremely important. One thing as well is on the selling side, you sell a company, all the communications that you had prior to the transaction, you want to make sure you have that off your server on a separate email address, because the acquiring company is going to pretty much acquire all that data. So is anything that's sensitive that you want to keep private, we always recommend our clients to use our selling clients use a confidential email address, because the buyer's going to get access to all the assets and the service.
Everything. Yeah.
And even the deleted emails, you can still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
And let's not forget, like there's different ways of, there are multiple ways of backing up your email, of getting everything done, of encryption. And you want to make sure, as they're keeping everything confidential, that they are, for the selling companies, that the stuff, they're having those discussions, they're figuring out how to transfer those documents. Just because you're selling or just because you're buying, it doesn't leave you guys off the hook, right? As you're making those transfers, confidentiality, compliance rules all stay in place.
Interesting. Quick question now. I want to have an answer for this. So I know you have a lot of clients, you've been doing this for a long time. The prospective clients, the ones you have now, and prospective clients, like when you do initial assessment, what percentage of them have significant unaddressed vulnerabilities?
Okay. So I'm going to take it outside of just my clients, because I'm involved in so many other things and I speak at a lot of these. I'm going to say almost half, if not more. And here's why. They don't know the vulnerabilities exist because they've never done an assessment. They take the word of what's happening and they don't have a trusted provider. And frankly, they don't care enough to ask the right questions. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's important to get that done, just to see what your vulnerabilities and exposure are. And what's your process with that as far as getting an assessment done with TechWerxe? What does that look like?
It's easy. You email me, we send a link, we go in, we don't look at any confidential data, and we start to get all of it basically goes and hits all the computers. We can run it on several different computers. We like to use the main ones. It's no hassle from your side and easy peasy, and doesn't look at anything confidential.
Awesome. We were speaking today with Sejal Lakhani-Bhatt, and she is the CEO of TechWerxe, and we're having a discussion on cybersecurity, technology, and things you should avoid and look out for when you're acquiring a company. And this information can help sellers as well get your business ready.
Absolutely.
Tech-enabled companies tend to value a little bit more. We do love having good talent and good people, but there's more ways you can scale when you have more of automation, more of a better tech stack. So whether you have an industrial company or a high-tech fintech company, technology plays a key role in your business. So Sejal and her team can evaluate your company to see where your vulnerabilities are. I mean, in the clients that I speak with, 9 out of 10 of them have issues. Typically, I'm looking for historical profits. I mean, we do get to the technology, but essentially we are looking first at the profitability of the business, We're looking at the growth opportunity and any risk that's involved, and technology does fall in that risk. We look at operations, we look at compliance issues, and so on. But technology plays a key role. If sometimes there are companies that don't actually own their technology, so you're selling a business, including software, sites that's been developed that you don't have the rights to sell. That can be a problem. I don't know if
that's
you want
a whole different issue.
I don't know if you want to talk a little bit on that, because that's a big one.
Well, yeah, we touched on it before a little bit when we talked about
Yeah.
red flags as homegrown solutions,
Yeah.
right? What are clients, what are your prospects using? And if they are, do they have the rights? Do they have somebody on staff that can actually write that programming, that knows the background, that understands the code, excuse me?
Yeah, what is important.
Yeah, for sure. And there's something going around too.
Yeah.
And you said it was low key, so.
Yeah. You do anything you want. Actually, while you're getting your thoughts together, I'm going to pull up cyber risk due diligence slide deck you have here for folks that want a visual. And by the way, if you have any questions, comments, we're going to go for another 10 minutes or so. We're approaching the end. Got about 10 more minutes to go. So if you have any questions, comments, make sure you put it in the chat. Yeah, you were saying, Sejal?
Yeah, so you want to, we were talking about the red flags before. You want to make sure that you have access, you have the ability to use that, or how you're going to transfer that data out, right? If you don't have the IP to that, if you don't have the ability to use that, if they don't own it, how are you going to get that information out? How long is it going to take? Who's going to do that? That all costs money.
Yeah. And that's, you made a good point too, because, typically the value of the business is based upon the EBITDA, right? What the business makes on an annual basis. Now, you as an acquirer that's buying the business, if now you have to make additional investments in technology, now that factors into the cost, right? So now a business that may have cost X now is going to cost a little bit different now, because you have to go on and reinvest in technology, or
right.
So that can be a major issue.
Reinvest in technology, figure out how to get the data out, find somebody. I mean, if this is we had a manufacturing company that bought another smaller manufacturing company, and manufacturing companies are known, and they need it to have some very old operating systems, et cetera, because certain of their tools only run on them, and we get it. And this one company had built their own little homegrown software. Nobody knew how to use it. Nobody knew how to get to it, but their data, their drawings and their pictures and everything else along that was sitting in this software. And to get it out was going to cost way more than it was worth, way more. We're already, and again, this is something you said before. You said, Sejal, what do we need to look at after it's closed? Well, this was the issue. We were looking at some of this stuff after it's closed because they didn't have it. These guys were in a rush. Everything was being done not correctly. By the time we came in, deal was already done. And now they're looking at this going, hey, what do we do? You throw it away. We can't do anything at this point. It's going to cost you millions to move it over. You tell me if it's worth it, right? Which is why I said you have to have those conversations before you agree. This is all part of due diligence before you're making the deal.
Yeah, I'm going to add here. These are some of the questions, and for those of you that are watching this, you can send me an email. I'll put my email in the chat in a second, and we can get this out to you. These are the questions that you want to ask. Anything here we haven't addressed? Any questions here that we didn't discuss today that you want to add some commentary on?
BYOD is a big one, especially right now. Bringing your own device. What are your policies, guys? Make sure you have the right policies in place, right? Who can access what? What can they access? What are your policies around your own device? What are your policies around social media? And guys, what are your policies around utilizing internal and external AI? AI is a huge player in the game now across the board. Most companies I talk to are utilizing it. What are your policies? What can you put in there? What can you type in there? What can you utilize it for? Who can utilize it? Where does it go? Where does it get saved, et cetera, et cetera? Cyber policies. I think we hit the rest of these. Access control is a big one. Right now, everyone's main game is everyone should just have access to everything, so we don't have an issue.
Mhm.
That's the exact opposite of what you guys should be doing. No one should have access to anything. Everyone should have access to nothing, is what I should say. No
Yeah.
one should have access to anything, is how you start. You start on the flip side of it and then build access up the other way.
Got it.
Remote workplace, those are just normal workplaces now, right? I think
Mhm.
every company almost has remote working capabilities.
Yeah.
So the one picture I would say, as you're looking to sell, looking to buy, or even just have a company, right? And you're looking to grow it, is pre-COVID more so, everybody was in this infrastructure, and the infrastructure had a gate around it, had bars, had alarm bells. It was all secure in that infrastructure, right? There's one building, so we put like 100 different security measures on the one building, so you weren't really getting through that building.
Mhm.
We don't do that anymore. Now we have people all over the US, plus all over the world. Most of our clients have employees all over the world now. Okay. And so each one's a little house and not a big guarded brick cement building. And so there are a lot of ways to get in. And you need to make sure that we've got the right tools on the right people in the right countries at the right places. And if your IT provider can't do that, find another one,
Mhm. Mhm.
because it just takes one breach to get into the entire network, one employee to click on one thing to get onto the entire network.
Yeah, it's you never know what can happen.
Yeah.
We do have the checklist here. I don't know if anything you want to address as far as due diligence goes. I know we touched on many of these.
I think we touched on a lot of it, Kyle. Is there
Yeah,
something that you wanted me to
yeah, we actually went through a lot in our session here today.
we
Uh,
did?
yeah. We talk about the budget. We talk a little about the roadmap. We talk a little about intellectual property,
Integration capabilities,
capabilities,
vendors. We talked about it all.
disaster and recovery. Yeah, we were pretty efficient today. We talk about
Thank you.
cybersecurity as well. Here's Sejal's contact information. There's a QR code. You can scan that. And where does that QR code take folks to?
It takes you to where you can go and request an assessment, and it has
Okay.
all my information and everything on it.
Fantastic. And I appreciate you joining us. And this information is very important, whether you're buying or selling. Evaluating the technology in a company is important and critical to any deal. One oversight, one vulnerability that was not assessed or reviewed in due diligence can cost you millions and millions of dollars. So make sure you get that done. Click the QR code and reach out to Sejal and see how her firm can help you. So do definitely appreciate you coming on the program.
Thank you.
We have a full list of events coming up, Sejal. We have a lot that's in our calendar.
Yes.
Quick update on Mondays. I'm going to be doing an industry update as far as what's happening in the market. Every Monday, I'm going to check in on LinkedIn Live, specifically talking about industry updates. I'll talk about different sectors. I wrote a newsletter talking about the market outlook for 2024. I'll put a link here so you guys can check that out. So I'm going to be talking more about that. And let's talk about deal flows that we are seeing and deals that we're working on here at the NYBB Group. So that's going to be on Mondays. And then next Wednesday, we're going to switch gears a little bit and talk about decoding the finer points of executive compensation. So going to have a good colleague of mine from National Financial Network, Robert DiPaolo. He's going to be joining us next week, Wednesday at 8 o'clock. So make sure you tune in. This is recorded and you will get, this is going to be on the LinkedIn server. Hopefully LinkedIn is safe, right? They're going to hack it and take down our information.
We should be good. They're not coming after this.
yeah, we should be okay. So with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Sejal, appreciate having you here. And I think that my quota, Sejal, having you twice in a year. I think are we done or
I think we're good. Although I get to have you in September, so let's see.
Yeah, we have some another speaking opportunity in December coming up. So looking forward to that. So thank you again and have a great rest of your morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.